Okay, welcome to our show, Diamonds in the Rough. My name is David Flores. I am a commercial real estate investor based in Houston. I've been in the business 20 years and done 2 billion in transactions during that time. Today, we're really lucky to have as our esteemed guest, Kiki de Ayala. Kiki, give us a quick summary of your current role in commercial real estate.
Thank you, David. It's good to be with you. Currently I am doing a resort development down on the Texas coast in Rockport, Texas. And that is looks like it's going to be about $100 million project when it's all said and done, and very excited about it.
Great, great. Well, I know your history is in really big entertainment and resort development, so interested to hear your background. First question of the day, real quick, Kiki, is how did you get into commercial real estate?
David, I got into, my career right after college is I had the opportunity to play in the NFL. And most of us that have gone to the NFL, we understand that NFL stands for not for long. So, I was trying to think, okay, what can I do? I got my degree in advertising. At the time when I talked to some advertising agencies, because I wanted to do some work during the off season and prepare myself for the eventual, my career ending. And so I talked to several advertising agencies. One of the good things about being in the NFL is that you're making a good chunk of money early in your life. The bad thing is it's hard to supplement that immediately. So I was trying to think, where can I be in a business where, my income is somewhat limitless or maybe limited to my abilities? And that's fine. I was willing to take that risk. And so I got into commercial real estate. And my first couple of years was in the tenant rep business, and really enjoyed it for the first couple of years. So that's how I got into the business.
That's great. That's great. And so how did you transition from doing tenant rep into doing these large scale entertainment and resort type developments?
Well, like most people most things that happen to all of us in our lives, I mean, just an opportunity comes out of nowhere, and it did. I had a client of mine who was wanting to build a complementary development for his real interest, which was owning the Houston Aeros hockey team. And he goes, I need to develop ice skating as a viable sport in Houston, Texas. So and I was his broker in the commercial real estate tenant rep business. So he pulled me aside one day. He goes, hey, I need someone to build one of these things. Do you think you could do it? I go, sure, why not? Yeah, of course I can. But that's really how it started for me. And I just, I learned on the run. I just learned on the fly. And, we built one, then we built two, then we built three. Next thing you know, we have $17 million worth of ice skating rinks in the Houston, Texas area. And that's really kind of the way I got transitioned from brokering to developing.
That's great. That's great. So your expertise is really in kind of some of the markets where there is primarily it's disposable income that people are using to come to your developments. Considering where we are in world history right now, how do you see the market?
Well, let me first say, David, that I think that where I do my best work is in secondary markets, maybe even tertiary markets. Most big cities have everything, and it's just a expansion of that existing product is what you see in the Houston, Texas market. So I do my best work in a market that maybe isn't there yet, but they have all the ingredients to support what it is you want to do. Laredo is a good example of that. No one thought that what we did there would have been accepted or needed, but it was. And I'd like to think that we probably created the first town center in Laredo, and it was by luck because we didn't call them town centers back then. But when we built the arena in today's dollars, that was an $80 million, 10,000 seat arena project. This project I'm doing now in Rockport is a coastal, um, somewhat of a retirement, but an active retirement type of development. Someone that's usually an empty nester and they want to have a second or even their primary or sometimes their third home is on the Texas coast. So and they haven't had anything, like what we're building, and we just use our creativity to develop a product that just no one thought of. And you really don't have data to go on to say this is needed, this is necessary, this is going to work. Sometimes it's just intuition and gut feel of what is needed. Sometimes so I call it, I'm pretty good at, let's call it, non-traditional real estate development projects.
Mm.
How's that?
That's great. That's a great background. Appreciate you sharing that. And so based on, I guess, what you're doing right now in this current development, share with us what your expectation is for what the economy and the commercial real estate market for your project will look like at the end of 2020, maybe going into 2021.
Saying that I think that with what's been going on in our country and the COVID, that it's got to be a little difficult right now for the landlords long term, the office market. I think that the real estate market is a little bit turned upside down. I think multifamily, single family is still fine. I think retail, it can go in a lot of different directions there, good and bad. I think office is going to be one that may be the hardest to figure out how fast they can recover and if they ever will recover. Good news about office, though, is usually owned by very long-term owners, and so they may have a different window of what they see as successful and not successful. With respect to my development, we see people that are going to be traveling a lot less by plane and much more to get to destination areas by car. And so we've seen it, and if you look into all the markets on the coast, I mean, sales are brisk. People want to be able to get to the coast. People get to the ocean. I would usually fly down to Mexico, go to Cabo or Playa del Carmen or somewhere else if I wanted to get away. Now, do I really want to go through all the hassle of the airport and the social distancing and all that kind of stuff? So what we're seeing is, and usually those are secondary markets and tertiary markets. So we think that there's a pent-up demand for people to come and spend their money in a beautiful setting, away from the traffic, away from the hustle and bustle. So I'm very optimistic with what we're doing, and I think we have the right product at the right time.
Great, great, Kiki. Thanks so much for that background and your history in the market and getting into the business and what you're working on now. So really, Kiki, thank you for coming on the show. And I always like to end the show with this, Kiki. We all know that it's a rough world out there in commercial real estate. So Kiki, I just want to let you know that you are a diamond in the rough.